Hello, thank you so much for watching. This being the anniversary of September 11th, 2001, I just thought I'd put forth this video. Mainly to thank those who made a difference on Flight 93 and to show my condolences for the victims and the family of the victims. My first video was rather highly spirited and, what's that word? Passionate. So I thought I'd better remake it. Like I said, I want to thank Mr. Bingham for making a difference and being a very patriotic American, and the other passengers on Flight 93 who helped him. It's a shame they couldn't recover control of the aircraft and get it landed safely and not lose their life. So my heart goes out to them as victims and to their families. My heart goes out to the other victims in New York City and their families. I know nothing can bring them back, and I hope the pain has gotten less severe. And my heart goes out to the firefighters, policemen, ambulance drivers, citizens on the streets, everyone who died, their families, their children, and those little babies that are growing up without their parents, those wives that lost their husbands, those mothers that lost their sons, those grandparents that lost their grandkids, and cousins who lost their first cousins, and the whole 9 yards. And also want to take this time to go ahead and remind you that this country was based on Judeo-Christian principles. I want to remind you that it was Christopher Columbus came over with 12 Catholic monks on board, risked his life to find the new land. I want to remind you it was Amerigo Vespucci that surveyed the North American continent. I want to remind you these people were Catholic, Catholic Christians. They were not Muslims. And, you know, the signers of the Declaration of Independence will turn over their grave right now, hearing stories like, you know, they're not allowed to have a prayer at Ground Zero. Well, I find that totally uncalled for, and I do not accept it. I urge all New Yorkers, all people visiting, tourists, everyone visiting the ceremony, to hold hands and say the Lord's Prayer. You know, it starts out, Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. I suggest everyone hold hands, recite the Lord's Prayer, and pray for the victims and their families. And I hope that the first responders are, in fact, invited to this event. I've heard they're not. Some may be working, some retired, others lost, but I hope they are invited. And, you know, it just bothers me that someone like Michael Bloomberg and President Obama could be so out of touch with the foundation of America. I mean, to say that they won't allow a prayer because they're afraid of upsetting the Muslims. Muslims did not found this country. Um, it was Muslims who flew into the towers, that religion. The Islamists who believe they can murder innocent people and scare them. It's just uncalled for. It negates all that we stand for. Americans, I've supported and defended the Constitution for over 26 years, about 27 years. And I've stood up for a little more in the past several years, especially since 9/11. And I've invented things to keep her safe. I've done on the ground work. I've done analysis work. I've done a lot of things to keep this country safe. And I do not accept the fact that we can't pray for the victims and the firefighters and the policemen at ground zero. I totally reject that idea, and I suggest if Mayor Bloomberg and President Obama can't get in line with the foundation of America, you vote them out of office. In fact, I've thought President Obama's been a bad commander-in-chief from the very beginning. In fact, I had to redo this video because I got a little highly spirited, and my mother would say, passionate. My little my Italian American heritage. Got a little passionate in my video, and I've cursed a couple times and caught myself, and then I wasn't able to go back and edit the video, so I'm remaking this. But I just want to remind you, you know, John Hancock, Thomas Jefferson, George Washington, and even George Bush for that matter, would not like the idea of not having a prayer at ground zero. If you take me there, I'll lead the prayer myself. It's a very easy one. Most people know it. It's called the Lord's Prayer. I think we should pray it for all the victims. I think we should put forth a lot of inventions, a lot of my own, in fact, that keep the country safe. I think we need to remind Mayor Bloomberg, President Obama, that you know, we sailed here for religious freedom. We sailed here for freedom to assemble in our Constitution, freedom of speech in our Constitution. And Americans will not be silenced. We will not betray our morals and our values and our religion because a terrorist killed people on our soil. We will not stand down against terrorism. Terrorism awoke a sleeping giant in us, and the terrorists have to pay the consequences. Keep in mind, around the world, when we get involved in helping people, when our troops stand up for the dignity of freedom and for other people to have a free life and risk their own lives for it, that's what America stands for. We have nothing to be ashamed of. We have every reason to be proud of our heritage and how we worship. We love the Bible, and I'm a witness to God and the Bible. So I think when I speak, I have a good foundation to draw on. Now, I hope everyone takes it upon themselves during the festivities to go ahead and pray. If I can get there, if you can put this on the screen, that would be wonderful. Seeing as how my world peace plans got out there, but I didn't get paid for them. And your president didn't bother to cut me a check out of that 1.5 million. I won't be driving to New York City. But I'll tell you, you know, I was a victim a little bit myself. I swam in got in a hot tub that some people from the Middle East must have been in, because when I got out of it, shortly afterwards, I had some bacterial infections, and I had some really bad infection in my lungs, coughed up a lot of fluid, and that was just from staying at a hotel not too far from here. So hindsight, looking back, I'm sure the terrorists had more plans in their little plan book, but thank God for a lot of diligent Americans. They weren't able to pull it off. So, like I said, you know, Americans do not stand down. We enjoy freedom of speech. We enjoy the right to assemble. Our forefathers fought for this. Many died for this. The right to vote, freedom of speech. And those of you who do not support it, those of you who support things like Sharia law, and those of you who kill our troops, do it because you're too selfish in your own reasons to support the dignity and freedoms of other people around the world. If you'd let go your hand. Stop trying to control people. Let them be free. Then they can enjoy the blessings of liberty and have a close relationship with God, and let God be their judge in their final days, and whether or not they make it to heaven. So remember, Americans, that New York skyline we used to have, how beautiful and majestic. I urge people, someone like Donald Trump, someone closer to the area, to go ahead and get that second tower built. I did notice that there's one fountain functioning and the oak trees and things, but that other footprint of the other tower, I believe there's room there to go ahead and redo the site and grow another tower from the area. I know there are certain rules and certain laws, zoning laws, but it looks like there's probably a good enough space there. And if we can go back to whatever the zoning laws were when the towers were built and utilize that space and show the world that Americans aren't going to take this sitting down, I think it'd be a great thing to do. Now, I want to remind you, sure, there's freedom of speech, but when Barack Obama was running for president in 2009, I had to call him 3 different times just to try to straighten him out, because he didn't know what was going on with America. He didn't know what was going on with our troops. He didn't know what was going on in Iraq. He doesn't know what was going on in Afghanistan. I had to straighten him out on 3 occasions, telling he was doing us wrong. We had troops in the foxholes, and he's speaking out against them. And to me, that's not commander-in-chief material. He wants to idolize Muslims in his upbringing. He needs to recognize us Bible-toting, God-fearing Americans that made this country, and stand up for what's right. You know, what always is common is not what's right. Right now, Obama's common because he's voted in office. I do not consider President Obama what's right for this country, and I think he's bad for this country. I think he's a bad representation of this country and his beliefs, what he stands for, and the way he does business. And I hope, my fellow Americans, you vote him out this next coming election. And if you feel so inclined, you could even vote me into office. I would uphold dignity and honor, serve the country well, and not turn my back on what makes this country great. And I do urge the Port Authority, the landowners, developers in New York City, the ones doing the current tower, or maybe even Donald Trump himself, I do urge you to go ahead and build a second tower. And I do this for a lot of reasons. You can contact me directly, and I can give you more information. But the time's here, we can do this, and we should get it done. And I urge all my Americans, all my fellow Americans, on the 11th of September 2011, to pray for those we lost, and to maybe even seek money from other countries around the world who can help us with our actions. We pay 80% of the bill for NATO operations. I think all these oil-rich countries with the natural resources can go ahead and contribute to bringing our deficit down, because we are restoring order in their neck of the woods. Thank you so much for watching. God bless you all.